Alright guys, this week in social studies we're still talking about government. Last week we learned about our national government and how it's organized. It's split into three branches: the executive branch, the legislative branch, and the judicial branch. And the reason our forefathers created the government that way was so there was a balance of power, that no one person would have all the power, that all three branches would have to work together and share the power in order to make the best decisions for our nation. This week, we're going to talk more about how there's different levels of government within the United States. Our learning goal this week is to know why the United States has three levels of government. So don't be confused. Last week we talked about the three branches of our national government. This week we're talking about the three levels of government and what each one does. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and jump forward and talk about your local government. Okay, so local government is one level of government. Cities and towns have a local government that serve their community. These governments can be organized in different ways. The way a city or town government is organized is described in the city or town charter. A charter is a legal document that describes what the powers of the local government are. In some cities and towns, people elect a mayor or city manager that is the head of the executive branch. A mayor is the leader of a community, so we need to remember that. A mayor is the head of the executive branch for local government. That's cities and towns. People who make the rules and laws in a community are part of a city or town council. A council is a group that makes laws. Council members are often elected. These lawmakers make up the legislative branch of the local government. In some cities and towns, the council appoints someone as a city manager to carry out the council's laws. Sometimes the mayor of a city or town is chosen from the council. The judicial branch is made up of the city or town courts. A judge decides what happens to people who do not follow the laws. Sometimes a jury or group of citizens will help decide if a person broke the law. Many local judges are appointed by the mayor or council of a town. However, some local judges are elected. Okay, so that kind of explains how local government is organized. It's a lot like the national government. We have three branches. We have our executive branch, that's the mayor. He's the leader of the local government, so he would be the leader of a town or community. The city council would be like your legislative branch. They are the ones that make the laws. And then the judicial branch is made up of judges. Okay, and judges help decide the consequences when people break the laws. So what is the job of the local government? The local government provides many services to the people in the community. It is in charge of the police department and the fire department. Okay, so our local government makes sure we have a police department and a fire department to help us out in emergencies and to keep us safe. The local government also provides schools and libraries. So the school we are in right now today was provided to us by our local government. Our local government decided how we could collect money through taxes to build the schools we needed in our community to educate our kiddos. It may cut down trees that have been damaged in storms. The local government takes care of roads. Okay, so if the city roads are damaged, the local government, our city government, is responsible for fixing those. It paves roads so they are smooth. It paints lines on roads and puts up signs on the roads so that the roads are safe for drivers. Where does the local government get money to do all these things? Some money comes from the state government, and other services are paid for by taxes that the local government collects. Local governments collect taxes on property, such as homes and businesses in the city and town, and some local governments can also charge sales tax on items you buy. Local government also charges its citizens a fee to use some of the services. These fees help pay for the service. For example, many large cities provide buses for transportation, but people pay a fee to ride the bus. So they help pay the local government to provide that service. You may not know it, but your mom and dad have to pay taxes for the house you live in. They pay a sum of money each year to the city of Burt Burnett, and those property taxes they pay on your home or land is what the local government uses to provide all the services for its citizens. Okay, now we're going to talk about state government. Each state has a state government that runs it. The state also has a constitution. State constitutions describe the responsibility of the governor, the legislator, and the court. So again, even in the state government, we see the three branches. The governor, which would be the executive branch, the legislature, and the courts. The governor is the head of the state's executive branch and is elected by the people in the state. The governor can appoint officials to help carry out laws. The state legislature makes laws for the state, just like in our national government. Nearly all 50 states divide the legislative branch into the Senate and the House of Representatives. The people in each state elect the members of their state legislature. These lawmakers meet at the Capitol in the state's capital city. State governments also have courts in their judicial branch. Judges work in the state courts to listen to issues that local courts could not solve. Okay, so what that means is if you had an issue and you went to a court in our local community, maybe at the county courthouse in Wichita Falls, and for some reason the judges couldn't decide or make a decision in your case, then your case could go on to the next level of government, which would be the state courts. In others, some judges are elected in some states, and in other judges are appointed. The state government, here's what the state government does for us. This is their job. They decide the rules for voting in the states. State governments also work with local governments to keep up state highways. Okay, so some roads around our community are city roads. The roads that connect Burt Burnett and Wichita Falls, now that is an interstate highway. So the city or local government wouldn't be in charge of keeping that highway safe. The state government would keep up the state highways. Some of these services are paid for with money from the national government, and others are paid for with taxes that the state collects. Okay, this is where the members of the Texas legislature meet. This building is in the capital city of Austin. National government. The three branches of the national government, or federal government, serve as a model for local and state governments. The President, members of Congress, and the Supreme Court justices share the responsibilities of running the country. The President and members of Congress are chosen by the people. We vote for them. Every so often we have elections for different Congress people. Every 4 years we elect a new president. And the citizens of our country vote on those people. The president appoints the Supreme Court justices, though, like we learned last week. The president also appoints people to the cabinet to help advise him on important issues. We talked about that last week. Appoint means the president chooses who the Supreme Court justices will be and who his cabinet will be, the people that are there to give him advice or help him work through important issues. The national government provides services that cities and states do not. Some of these services are paid for with taxes. Other services are funded by fees paid for by people who use the services. The national government prints paper money and makes coins. It runs the United States Postal Service. See? So when you get mail, that service is provided by our national government. Our national government is also the only level of government that can print paper money and make coins. The state can't do that. Your local government can't do that. The national government is the only level of government that can do that. The national government also manages national parks. The national government serves the whole nation in other ways too. Every 10 years, the national government takes a census, or a count of the population. This count helps the government decide how much money different communities need. The national government can also organize an army to protect its nation's people. The government sometimes has soldiers to help people and communities after harsh storms. That's another important role of our national government. It organizes an army to protect us and help us in times of need. How governments work together. Even though the local, state, and national governments all have their own responsibilities, they often work together. They work together to complete large projects such as building roads and bridges and buildings. Local and state leaders may also ask the national government for help if there's a bad storm or disaster in their state and they need resources to help their citizens. The three levels of government do similar kinds of work. They all collect taxes from their citizens. This money is used to pay for the services the government provides. The national government collects taxes on the money people earn for their jobs. Some states also collect this tax. Local governments collect taxes on items people buy and on homes and businesses they own. Local governments also rely on money from the state to fund services. States rely on money from the national government to fund services. The courts in all three levels also work together. If a local court does not resolve an issue, the case would then move to the state court. If the case cannot be resolved in the state court, then it may be sent to the Supreme Court justices to help figure the case out. So this is kind of a summary of how all three levels work together, okay? So I want you guys to think for a minute, what responsibility does each level of government have? Let's go back through our reading, and we're going to write down at least 3 different services or responsibilities each level of government has. Okay, so we know the local government provides the police and fire department. It provides schools, libraries, and parks, and it takes care of local roads. That's 3 services our local government is responsible for, it takes care of. So they provide police and fire department. Okay. They provide schools to educate their citizens. They take care of local roads. So the roads that run through town or through the community, it's the local government's job to make sure the roads are paved nice, they're painted, all the road signs are up, all those things. Okay, so what is the responsibility of the state government? If you look back through the text, they're very similar to the local government. But at the state level, they have to keep up with the state highways, which those people are called the highway patrolmen. Okay, we have local city police, the Burt Burnett City Police, that help take care of our local community. The state provides highway patrolmen. The highway patrolmen patrol the state highways, and they make sure the state highways are safe and that people obey the laws on the state highways. So the highway patrolman is a service provided by the state government. Okay. The state government has a state legislature that meets in Austin, and those state legislature, the state representatives and Senate, pass laws for the state of Texas. Okay, so the state provides a state legislature that creates new laws for us to follow and obey to make sure our state is a nice, safe place to live. And the national government, if you remember, they're the only level of government that can make money, that can print new money or make new coins. They also organize the army to protect us and help our communities around the nation whenever there's bad storms or disasters and we need additional resources. We'll say military. Okay, so those are just a few. I'm going to give you this chart in a few minutes, and you guys need to think back to what we learned today about the different levels of government and sort these pictures to show which level of government provides these services.